Pemirsa, senang sekali saya Luisa Kusnandar bisa kembali menemani Anda. Pemirsa, kawasan Asia Tenggara telah menjadi salah satu kekuatan ekonomi global dipimpin oleh Indonesia sebagai pelaku ekonomi terbesar kawasan. Pasar Asia Tenggara saat ini memberikan tantangan tersendiri bagi para pelaku bisnis untuk terus tumbuh di pasar yang berkembang sangat cepat. Untuk itu, Wavemaker hadir dan memberikan solusi spesifik bagi dunia usaha Asia Tenggara dalam menjawab tantangan pasar. Bagaimana Wavemaker melakukannya? Simak perbincangan kami bersama dengan CEO Wavemaker Southeast Asia, Rose Huskey, dalam 30 Minutes with Rose Huskey. Well, hello and thank you for joining us here with us today, Rose. First question is, how do you see about Southeast Asia market these days?
Yes, interesting question. I think Southeast Asia, as you see in the advertising media world, is moving more or less from west to east. And that's purely based on the consumer basis in Asia today. If you zoom into Southeast Asia, one of the biggest adapter is digital, and I think that's where all the growth is coming in. So for me, as you look at Southeast Asia, for us, it's our second biggest region in APAC, beside India and China, and that we see the massive growth. And I'm just looking into just more of Wavemaker in terms of the market I have in all them. We're always number 1, 2, or 3 in the terms of scale as a building. This is based on Redmine 2018. Especially for Indonesia, we're the number 2 agency in terms of volumes and building with the the client. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have heard about the wonderful things that Wavemaker is doing currently in Southeast Asia. Yes. Can you please tell us how Wavemaker is actually performing right now in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, I mean, that's, Southeast Asia for us is after this. So after the merger in 2017, when MEC and Maxis came together, we became a $1 billion business. And on the back of that, if you look at, we have won a tremendous amount of awards across Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Vietnam. Just recognizing the whole entire industry, that's where we're, like, a lot of awards being there. If you look at total new business, we are the number 1 new business winners in terms of, if you look at, again, Indonesia is always on the top of our Southeast Asian markets. And we increase our billing tremendously by markets like Indonesia, where I think we're now sitting about 40% of the total billing has all been new business. So Southeast Asia is one of the fastest growing regions for us in the whole entire network.
Right.
Yeah.
So what contribution can Wavemaker give in terms of the growing business in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, I mean, because of the business growth, we really look at the client with 3 things. We have process in place. And I'll kind of spend a little bit about that because of volume, because a lot of times clients just don't look at the scale of the business. They want to look what's in it for them, right? So because of the scale, we're able to put proper process in. So we looked at a process called rapid growth planning, which is a process we put in place to go deep into the understanding of a purchase journey, which is where consumer starts the intention of researching the item, the purchase, before then they go buy through. And we look at different data points that's available. We look at the research that we have internally, and then we look at the technology. So that's where we're spending all of our investment behind the scenes, because we're actually quite obsessed with our clients' growth, and that's the one area we have learned. So we have invested heavily amount of money on that. And so what I mean by research, if you look at McKinsey, for example. McKinsey has about 275,000 consumer research they've done on a yearly basis. And the tools that we have, the research tool we have is called Momentum, and that has about 500,000 different consumer journey study done. We've done across 75 different categories in almost 54 different countries. So you can imagine a client comes to us, we can actually pull any research down because it's already been done before. So I think that's where all the investment's gone behind. This is why the success of Southeast Asia is on the rise in the back of the data and the tech investment we put in place.
All right. Yeah. Well, you mentioned about a purchase journey just now. Is this an authentic methodology that Wavemaker has?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to claim it's a Wavemaker. I mean, every major holding company have some form or matter of understanding the purchase intention. Right. We call, so we have a tool, a research tool called Momentum, and in that's understanding the purchase journey. from the point of where the consumers start researching for the product, going through what triggers them to buy, and then what channel they're on, and then actually buying. So to us, we understand and we study that very intensively. And on the back of that, I mean, I'm trying to simplify, but because based on that, we have tools along the way to identify what is the task, what are the channel we should be buying, how much money should we spend on these channels, and then how we then look at the success of those channels we spend the money on, and then go back, how does it link to the client's business. So we have tools for every one of those stages throughout the purchase journey. And that, to me, is investment back behind the growth of the business.
It sounds pretty simple, but I'm sure it's a lot more complicated.
We have an army of people. Yeah.
All right. Well, as the CEO of Wavemaker in Southeast Asia, of course, Rose, what is the mission you have? What is the target you have for Southeast Asia?
I think for us, growth is a must. You know, I mean, this is what we're in the business. But I think for us, if I would look at one priority is how do we grow our client's business? Because if our client's business is successful, we'll always be successful. So everything we do, we started, what's the client need? And then from there, what are the tools and the data and research we need to buy or build in-house? And then after that is I look at is if those are fundamentally, anyone can claim that. But I think what's really different for me as a CEO for Southeast Asia is then how do we upskill our talent? How do we train them? How do we motivate them? How do we retain them? And how do they, get involved in all the tools we do, all the process, the infrastructure is put in place? Because it doesn't matter how much money we put into the infrastructure. If we don't have the right talent, it never works. So this is where a lot of our investment comes in, is upskilling our talent and looking at ways to, we look at career mobility, we look at different diversity programs. I can go on and on forever, but that's really where my priority comes in.
Do you think there are any specific challenges or hurdles here that you face in Southeast Asia?
I think the challenge that we face is similar to everyone in the industry. Is a shortage of talent, the growth of the business. And I think, like I just shared with you, as we see more and more of the investment coming from west to east, it just means then we need to upskill and we need to hire. But some of my market, Indonesia is actually a very unique market because it's a very large, fast-growing market, but some of the other Southeast Asian markets, the pace of the business doesn't always match with the talents available. So that would be one of our biggest challenges, but I don't think it's unique. And I guarantee if I sit with any CEO in the region, they'll all have a similar challenge.
Okay.
Is how do we attract good talent, and how do we retain good talent, and how do we train them, right, to stay with us?
Yeah.
So that would be, I think, will be my biggest challenge right now. But I think it's an industry challenge. It's not really a Wavemaker challenge.
That sounds pretty challenging, but it's in a good thing, in a good way, of course. All right, Rose, we will talk more about Indonesia next.
Yes.
Pemirsa, simak terus 30 Minutes with Rose Huskey, CEO Wavemaker Asia Pasifik. Kami kembali sesaat lagi.